In this video, we're going to be discussing the Ottawa Senators. Obviously, this season's gone from bad to worse, and it looks as though there might be a major disconnect between the coach and some of his players. So what should the Senators do moving forward? Let's discuss, and that's coming up next. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Top Shelf Hockey. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. We review and discuss all 31 NHL teams with an unbiased opinion. So if you're a huge hockey fan, consider subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. So let's jump into the situation with the Ottawa Senators. Obviously, things are not going well this year for the team, and as the season goes on and things continue to get worse, the injuries are now piling up. They got a lot of young players in the lineup. Things just aren't going well. And it seems like they're all searching for answers based on the most recent post-game comments after last night's loss to the St. Louis Blues. I get the feeling there's a major disconnect between the coach and his players. Listening to comments from Captain Erik Karlsson after the game, he kind of didn't come out and wasn't explicit with his comments, but the way he was saying how they need to be able to play hockey, let the young guys play, not worry about making mistakes because they're bound to happen. It's part of learning the game and growing. And it just seems like he's kind of frustrated and thinks the younger guys need to be given more of a chance. As we all know, with Coach Boucher's style, how he plays, if you're a young player and you get on the ice and you make a mistake, you pay for it by sitting out for long stretches. That just seems to be his style. He seems to have more comfort level in some of the veterans. And I think that's a major issue with this team this season. Obviously, they're not getting the play that they need to from some of their main guys as well. So they're not going to put this all on one reason here. Their goaltending has been subpar. Neither goaltender has been able to get on a roll this year, whereas goaltending was the backbone of the team last year, was a big part of their reason for all the success they had going to the conference finals. Now, if you look at Erik Karlsson himself, I don't think he's quite himself either. I mean, if you look at the surgery he had in the offseason, that was a major setback to him. And even though he seems to be adjusting to his new way his ankle feels, obviously, you know, he had half of his ankle bone removed, and that was a way more major surgery than I think a lot of us realized as the playoffs ended last year. We knew he was hurt, and we knew what he was dealing with to an extent, but I don't think we really understood the full nature of it until details were revealed after he came back at the beginning of this year. So I think it took him a while to actually kind of get used to things, and then, to be honest, I think he's still kind of getting used to it. He hasn't been himself. Offensively, he's been probably close to being himself, but from a defensive standpoint, he's making a lot of mistakes out there. There's a lot of miscues, and he doesn't seem to have the foot speed like he once did. Now, part of that may not necessarily be the ankle bone itself and the situation with there, but if you think about it, he wasn't really able to train all summer, and even though he did get some training in towards the end of the preseason into the regular season before he jumped in the lineup, I'm sure his conditioning was nowhere near what it normally would have been, and I think that's probably playing a role in his performance as well. However, if you look at the team overall, there's just a lot of players not getting it done this year. And, you know, after hearing those comments from Karlsson, and he's the captain of the team, it sounds like there may be a disconnect from the players. Was reported not too long ago, just a few days ago, that General Manager Pierre Dorian went into the room to meet the players. It was mentioned that he kind of gave it to them pretty hard as to why things are not going well. And it was mentioned that the players gave it right back to him and had a lot to say as well. So it seems like things might be imploding from the inside here. Listening to Coach Guy Boucher's post-game comments after last night's game, you know, he was seemed to be very defensive, in my opinion, on why the team is not playing well. And when asked about, you know, what do you do when you keep trying to get things going, and, you know, what else can you try? It seems like he's reluctant to change. You know, and I'm sorry, if you're the coach, and yes, the players, you might not be happy with the players' effort, but if the player's not happy with your ability to kind of try to change things up as well, you know, there's just a major disconnect there. What should they do in order to try to get things turned around? Do they fire the coach, or do they try to make some moves and improve the team? I know injuries have played a part of it, but it's certainly not everything this year, and it seems like a lot of the guys are just kind of giving up. I mean, you could certainly question the effort in some of the games more recently, and it just seems like a lot of the players just don't care anymore. They might not say that on camera when they're interviewed post-game, but it seems like there's kind of reaching a boiling point where some guys are putting in the effort every night and they haven't given up, but it seems like a lot of the guys have. So I kind of wonder if there's also maybe even a disconnect within the players group themselves. So if you're the Ottawa Senators, what do? Do you fire the coach? Do you make a bunch of trades and change your roster up? Do you if you're an owner, Eugene Melnyk, do you come and find a new general manager? Are you happy with Pierre Dorion? I mean, there's a lot of question marks on this team. I think there's a lot of blame to go around. I think you could question some of the moves Dorion's made. You could question Boucher's ability to not change with the roster he's got and how he develops the strategies for his team. And you could question the players' efforts and their performance on the ice. So I think there's blame to go all the way around. I'm not sure there's an easy solution to this. But at the same time, I don't know if it's really worth kind of tearing everything down and kind of starting fresh here. I mean, they've got a lot of good players on this team, and it's really mind-boggling when you think of how things have changed in less than a year. You go from a goal away from the Stanley Cup final to being, so terrible. I mean, yeah, a lot of people felt like they overachieved last year and they didn't, couldn't duplicate that this year. But that's all fine, even if that's true. Nobody that I've seen in the predictions in the preseason previews had them down at the bottom of the league. Not everybody had them as a playoff team. Some of them had them being like a bubble wildcard team or not. But nobody in their wildest dreams thought they would be this bad. Now at this point in the year, things are going so bad, you might as well bottom out and go for Rasmus Dahlin. Rasmus Dahlin has the potential to be, a top generational talent. I mean, it's hard to say if that's going to turn out, but that's the way things are looking right now. They haven't had a real high draft pick in the first round in a number of years, and maybe it's time they just let it bottom out and go for it. I mean, we've seen other teams how it's changed their fortune and turned the franchise around completely. So you don't even really need to go through a completely rebuild. You can kind of start fresh and do a retool by throwing in a high quality player. Plus they have some other guys in junior right now that are coming up the ranks. They have some pretty good looking prospects. So I think at the end of the day here, they need to move out some of this veteran players that are not getting it done. I'm looking at Alex Burrows. I'm looking at Johnny Oduya. I'm looking at Nate Thompson. I know the coach loves Thompson, but he's got to go. You don't want to mess too much with the other guys, but at the end of the day, you're going to have to make some changes because it's just not working. So what do you do? I mean, we get some news should be coming on the Senators arena situation between today and tomorrow. We're expected to be getting an update on the downtown arena development. So there's going to be some interesting news coming forward here as that comes out. And then the next question is can Melnyk get the money together to get everything built down there? Because it looks as though the city of Ottawa doesn't want to have any part in contributing any tax dollars from the local population to fund this project at all. So there's a lot of interesting things coming out of Ottawa. If you're the Ottawa Senators, what do you do? I mean, for me, you're already near the bottom. You might as well bottom out, get the high draft pick. You probably want to make a couple of moves, shed some veteran players, like I said, maybe a Burrows, maybe a Smith, Oduya. I probably wouldn't cut it completely. And if Pierre Dorion needs to be careful here because he's already made some moves that, in my opinion, have not worked out good for the Senators. And if he makes one or two more, then they're going to be doomed for a long time, and he's probably going to find himself out of a job. So don't forget as well to follow us on social media. You're going to see our link to our Twitter handle right here. We're also on Facebook and Instagram, so please check out those accounts. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. We have daily uploads with Hockey Talk here every day. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. We'll catch you next time.